Can you guys hear me? Are we back up line here? Hello? Yeah, you should have sound. Wait a minute. Alright, can you hear me? Fuck. Let's see. You can hear me now? Okay, cool. Alright, give me a second here. I gotta do one more thing and then we'll be back live properly. Let's see. Put that up there. The right one? No, it's not, I don't think. Ah, shit. What the hell's going on here? Hold on, hang on. Oh, fuck, where did it go? I gotta get my chat fixed up over here. Docs. Ninja chat. Okay, that's there. Where did the pop-up go? Working on it, guys. Be patient. Be ready in a second here. Almost there. I don't know why that's so small. I can barely read it. Alright, I'm going to play the video again because we got cut off while it was partially through it. Rant. No rant yet. Alright, well, let's go ahead and watch the video. Alright, howdy everybody. Jim Tedesco here from Shortline County Railroad version 2.5. As you can see, I've cleaned up a lot here. Try not to make anybody too dizzy. I brought the table in here and I got a bunch of stuff on the table now. But at least I'm getting the actual lower level cleaned up. There's still a lot to be done, but it's much more organized than it was before. I've still got a lot of dusting and stuff to do, but it's getting there. I still got a bunch of stuff here that's got to be cleaned up. And of course over here I've got most of this cleaned up already. Now going up to the second level, I laid in the second track for the intermodal. And I've got some of the well cars already stationed there. And there's the crane. Now, the track is laid out all the way over here. This is now the beginning of the ladder is already put down, but as I showed before, I've got to get the sidings put down and locked down in place. So we're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. I started working over here, got another turnout in from the engine house, and hopefully I'll have that completely hooked up to this lower track right here soon. I have a ton of couplers. I did get the 300 in, but I spent so much time cleaning that I haven't had time to get anything together yet. But we're getting there. And hopefully next week I'll have trains running, so we'll be able to see the trains going around while my show is going on. We'll see how it all goes. And up top, nothing's really changed up there from what I showed you before. But we'll see what happens. As far as the rest of the shed goes, I still haven't done much cleaning on this end. Like I said, I haven't had much time in here to work. There's still a little bit that needs to be done, organization. My desk is the same way, my work area. But we'll get it all straightened out. Anyway, thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next one. All right. That was easy, right? We got to see what I was doing anyway. Fucking weather, I'll tell you what. I had a feeling I was going to have a problem. Hopefully, the rest of the evening will be fine. So that's what I've accomplished so far. It's a start. There's still a little bit more that needs to be done, but now I'll get to it. This place is it's a friggin' mess. It really is. But it's getting better. And really, you're looking at 2 days worth, or really a day and a half, of me actually trying to get organized. So that's not too bad, because I got half the air conditioner in the mini split on the other in the second bedroom. I got the head units put up, and that's what I needed a table for in the bedroom as the staging area. So I still got to hang the condenser, hook up the lines, vacuum it down, and then fire it up. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Saturday, I'm not sure which. And then I'll get back in here. I should be able to get a little bit more accomplished. Hey, Darren Hamill, how you doing? Good to see you here. How's everybody doing today? Well, so far, so good. Derek Alexander. Hey, Derek, how's it going? We had a hiccup at the beginning of the stream, but we're good to go now. So hopefully we have no more hiccups. So, yeah, I wish I got more done in here, but I haven't had the opportunity. Now I'm thinking that maybe I got a few extra dollars I could blow. I could run down to Home Depot and pick up some 1x6, just some cheap pine. I'll stain it and build a shelf over there on this front wall. And I can hang some of the models on, the wood models and the plastic models, because they're kind of in the way right now. I've got them on the table. I've got them on the, I don't know if you can see it or not. I don't know if this other camera's working or not yet either. Oh, it is. Yeah, the camera's working. and it's following me too. But you can see right there, there's the model car, the NASCAR, and a model jet. I have no place to put it right now, so it's just sitting on top of the elevated train station, which is better than nothing, you know. But you can see how nice and clean things are now, at least on the layout side of it. I got to do a good dusting, get the cars back in place, and some other things. And then like I said, I like to drill the holes for the bus lines up under the second level. And I may try and get all that done in the coming week. We'll see next week. Hey, Sparky 107. How's it going, Sparky? Good to see you here. And Joe Rader, Black Rock Central. Good to see you. So that's the plan anyway. And like I said, as soon as I get that air conditioner wrapped up next door, which will only take me about a day to do that, then I could start devoting more time in here, hopefully. Unless, of course, you know, my wife and my stepdaughter find more shit for me to assemble. So far, I've assembled the bunk beds, the desk for my grandson, and well, it really wasn't assembly. But my stepdaughter bought this fancy ass. It's a combination playpen, bassinet thing. And you're supposed to just fold it out and do something with the cover. It's a bunch of horseshit is what it is. $300 fucking waste of money is what it was. I thought she was just going to get the baby a crib or a bassinet. And that seemed to me like the smartest and cheapest way to go. But no, she decided to offer this fancy ass device that probably won't work worth a shit anyway. But that's the way it goes. Hey, Truck Driver, how you doing, Chuck? Good to see you here. And Crooked River and Eastern Railroad. Crooked Dave. Dave, what's going on, man? Good to see you here. So, I have to play the video again. Everybody, y'all come in after the video. I run the video the first time and lost the connection. So I shut it down, reestablished the connection. We're back up and running. Knock wood. Ran the video again, and now everybody's starting to pop in. So maybe in a half an hour or so I'll run the video again. And the video is just basically what I've gotten done so far, which is not a whole lot, but you know, it's something. And you can tell just by looking around there, it looks a little bit cleaner. Because I cleaned up a lot of the stuff, and because it was a big mess. I still have a lot of work to do, but I'll get to it at some point. Like I said, it's raining outside now. Of course, you know, it actually got to 108 today, according to my outside thermometer. That is in the shade, by the way. 108 degrees. Now, the weather reported the feels-like temperature of 104. Well, it might have been somewhere else, but not here in my yard. Then it dropped down to 100. I think it was, you know, it was 102, excuse me. No, it was 100. And the weather report said it feels like 102. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. I go by my thermometer. Whatever it says, that's what it is. But the last couple of days have been brutal with the heat. We're seeing triple digits the last couple of days. Yeah, so I mean, it's all right if you're in the house in the air conditioning or in here in the air conditioning. But you really don't want to be outside because it's just, it's not fit for man nor beast. So, you telling to post the video? I already did. I'm going to do it again, though, so you can see it again. What the hell? What am I doing here? And when you know it, my $40 Florida Highway Patrol car, it fell off the bench while I was cleaning and knocked the lights off the top. I've yet to find the light bar. I know it's there somewhere. But it pisses me off because, you know, it's just the way it landed, it popped it off. I don't think it probably damaged it any. Worst come to worst, I guess I could print a new one. And I wanted to actually put real lights in this anyway. And that was for a project down the road. I already got it split. You know, split the rivets in there so I could pull the body off. Oh, you mean this here? Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Well, it's my green screen. So when I do my Wise Guy videos, I pull this down, and then I could use a fake background for my Wise Guy videos. I could probably do it for even these videos. Well, not for the live stream, probably. Yeah, I guess I could do it for the live stream, too. I'd have to figure out how, though. So anyway, that's what I bought that last year. That's the third green screen I bought. The first one I bought was just a freestanding green fabric, and I had a couple of bars that elevated and you clipped it to it. That didn't last long. Then I bought a retractable one that was ground based. Remember, almost like the projector screens. Well, it broke. And I says, do I really want another one? He said, it was a pain in the ass having it on the floor. Because it has a set of hydraulics on it. You could just pick it up and it would stay there, but it was also very unstable. So I saw this one that you can hang either on the wall or the ceiling. And I said, I'm going to get that. And it wasn't that expensive. I think I got it on eBay. I'm trying to think of what I paid for it. It wasn't a whole lot. Yeah, $130 somewhere in that neighborhood, free shipping. So it comes in handy for, like I said, doing the wise guy. Just pull it down and I'm ready to rock and roll. Hey, Bud Files, you're back. Cool. Good to see you here. And let's see, what else am I? So I'm anxious to get trains running again. So I think sometime in the beginning of next week too, I've got to clean all the track. And then that's the only thing really keeping me from running trains, is that there's some dirty spots on the track, and I'm getting, even though I've got the keep alive in the engine that I'm running, but it needs a good cleaning. It hasn't been cleaned in a long time, so hopefully the next time, my next week's live stream, you'll see the trains running. Hopefully. At least that's the plan anyway. So, and of course I should have more accomplished. I'd like to get the ladder finished up on the second level. At least all the track down anyway. And like I said, I'm still unsure whether I'm going to do manual turnout controls or electric. I'm really kind of up in the air about it. I did set the track in far enough though, so I could use the tortoise motors in there. I can get them up under there to connect them in case I decide to go that route, which chances are I'm probably going to. I still like electric stuff. I mean, the manual wouldn't be that big of a deal, but I think the electric would be cooler. So, and I'm going to need, I think it's 8, 9, 10, 11. I'd need 12 of them so far. I think I got 13 of them, maybe 14. So that's a lot of tortoise motors, but I'll buy them used. I don't necessarily need to buy them new, just to save some money, One of you guys had some of the Smales, the ones that you can use that are DCC friendly. I would go that, and it's a good price on them, but that may be a little more complicated than I really need or want. So, like I said, I'm undecided. Nothing's going to happen anytime soon as far as that goes. Once I get the yard finished, mostly finished, I'll get my excess rail cars up there, and it'll be a static display for a while, which will be fine. So, like I said, I have no way to get from top to bottom right now anyway, until I get the shed to bolt onto this shed for an area to put the helix in. And I don't know when that's going to happen either. So it all depends, I kind of, buying all these air conditioners kind of breaking me financially. I've got two air conditioning loans and a water heater loan out there. Because I wound up buying a water heater. Well, You remember we talked about that a couple weeks ago, the tankless water heater? I don't know if I covered any of that, and I bought a cleaning kit. It was 80 bucks on Amazon. And like I said, I had no idea you're supposed to flush those things once a year. I looked at, because like I said, I bought a new one figuring that the old one was screwed. It turns out it's not. It just needs a good cleaning. So now I've got a spare one, which is no big deal. But I looked in the instruction manual and the maintenance manual. Nothing in there about cleaning these things. So they're trying to keep that as secretive as possible, hoping that it'll get dirty enough to where it'll quit working and you'll just buy a new one, which is pretty shitty on their part. But it seems to be that's the plan. And I gotta thank I think it was Gerald that was the one who told me you're supposed to clean that thing. I had no idea. I know a tank heater you should flush. You should drain it once a year. I don't know nobody does it, but you should. And the water quality here is terrible, And Tom says, I flush my toilet every time. Not touching that one, Tom. I flush mine every time, too. Just a habit, I don't even think about it. Just done. Flush. But I really had no idea you're supposed to flush these tankless water heaters. Now keep in mind the one I had back in Naples, the one that I purchased from Canada, the $1,000 one. I never flushed that, and that was in the house for almost 8 years, I think, 8 or 9 years. Never flushed it, never had a problem with it. And I think that was probably a superior tankless heater compared to what they're selling today. Because, and this is the thing. Remember when the LED light bulbs first came out? Hey, Anthony, Georgia Sunbelt, how you doing? Good to see you here. Remember when LED bulbs first came out? They lasted a long time. They were kind of pricey, but you did get some, life out of them. Now they're shit. They've gotten cheaper. They don't last near as long as they claim they used to. And I think the same thing happened with the tankless water heaters. It's actually not hard. Sparky, the kit's it's a simple kit. It's a little sump pump like you'd have in your basement, and 2 hoses. And what you do is, well, depending how yours is set up, mine did not have outlets on them for cleaning. Like I said, didn't know we needed them. I didn't even know they made them. Maybe down the road I'll pop them in, but they're really not necessary. You pull both hoses off, and mine are screwed in like with a hose fitting. After you make sure you shut the power off and the water off both at the same time. Then you put the hoses they give you, the red one on the hot side, the blue one on the cold side. The blue one goes from the sump pump, which sits in a 5-gallon bucket of water. Well, actually, we use, they have scale remover, or you can use, oh fuck, what the hell you call that stuff? Yeah, the line's going here. Vinegar. You could use vinegar to flush. You do a 30-minute flush with vinegar. Well, anyway, so you take the red hose, you put it in the bucket, you turn the pump on, and it just flushes the system. The water goes through it, or the vinegar goes through it. And after 30 minutes, it's supposed to clean all the scale and any other contaminants out of the system. Now you shut it off, you empty your vinegar bucket, fill it full of clear water, run it again, make sure you get all the crap out of it, Once you're running crystal clear water out of it, your job is done and it's cleared. Then put your lines back on, put the water back on, put the power back on, and you're good to go for another year. Like I said, I had to look into it because I had no idea, And away go the troubles down the drain. Ah, you guys are strange. Might have to YouTube. I could. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. I could run a short video. As a matter of fact, I will just for you guys because I don't know how many of y'all have tankless water heaters, but apparently it's a big deal to flush them once a year. Now the water here in Sebring is terrible. And we have, well, what we'd call probably hard water. It's the woman who works in the water company who knows my neighbor. She told him don't drink the water under any circumstances unless you filter it first. That just goes to show you how bad the water quality is here in Sebring. Now I filter my water anywhere, everywhere I go. But it plays hell on heaters, probably on the pipes themselves too, so. James says, Sparky, they do ours, never watched them do it. Well, like I said, chances are you probably have the fittings on there already, to where they just turn the water off, both sides, hot and cold. Screw their hoses into the fittings that are just below where the water comes in and out, and allows it to flush the system. Like I said, I looked at, I was going to replace mine and put them in. Fucking things are $140 for 2 fittings. I'm going, yeah, boy, they're not a fucking ripoff, right? So maybe down the road I'll see about them. Eric says, is that a train whistle? Where? I don't see a train whistle anywhere. I had one. I think I got rid of it. I don't remember. Where is that train whistle? Nope, I don't see it. If you see it, you're the only one. I don't know where it went. I had one. I think I got rid of it because it was kind of dumb. Yeah, CLL works really good too for that. But for now, I'm going to try the vinegar. I bought 3 gallons of vinegar, and we'll run it through probably a little bit longer. They say run it until you start seeing, a lot of crap should start coming out of the system. Scale, rust, whatever. And then after you hook it back up and everything's cleared out and ready to go, it'll work properly again. Because what happens is, and then you use the vinegar. I don't think you'd want to use that vinegar for anything else. Everything sounds like work, Sparky. That's just the way it is. And Anthony says he flushes his every 2 to 3 years if it needs it or not. Well, that's good. At least you're flushing it. He says the water's not hard here, so you can go. Yeah, if you got good water, you probably don't have that problem, See, like down in Naples, we have better quality water. We still filtered it because of the chlorine in it, but if you don't have hard water, you probably won't have the process. The trick is, when you turn on the hot water, it'll be hot for a few seconds, then it'll go stone cold. And eventually it'll go back to hot and stone cold again. It somehow or another affects the electronics or the water flow, and it really plays hell with a tankless water heater. So if you're having problems, you're getting intermittent hot and cold water, then your tankless needs to be cleaned. Hey, Sean's Pennywise and Miser Railroad. How you doing? Good to see you here. I just didn't see it, heard it. Okay. Yeah, that's what they told me. That's why I went ahead and bought the vinegar. If it cleans it up, then I'll let it go with that. But if not, I'll have to try something stronger. Sparky. I used to know a guy named Sean. He got a girlfriend, and now I never see him. My heart is broken. Ah, you get over it. Yeah, she does things that you won't. I would certainly hope you wouldn't anyway. Yeah, that's another good point too. Make sure it's not leaking because that'll cause problems as well. So, and plus I have two of them now. The main one that's giving me problems now is in my kitchen, which feeds my kitchen sink, my dishwasher, the master bathroom and the master bedroom, and the half bath is the one that I use. The sink, well, the sinks anyway. And the mother-in-law apartment that I rent out to my mother-in-law. Because, she called me, she says, I took a cold shower today. I says, well, that sounds like a personal problem. She goes, no, I had the hot water on, but it went cold like within seconds. I'm going, all right, let me check it out. And then I said I checked our hot water because we're on the same system. And some of it, same thing happened. So, damn it. Then I have another one out in the garage, which covers the second bathroom and shower, and the washing machine that's in the laundry room. So, and I said I had tank heaters. I replaced them as soon as we moved in. I mean, we drained them, and there was so much scale you couldn't pick them up. They were 60-gallon heaters. I mean, they weighed a ton. Had a hand truck them out, and they had a tough time with that. And when I threw it in the dumpster, you could hear all the scale move around in there, So it's like they obviously never cleaned it, ever. And I figured they were probably original to the house from '94. But Sparky, your trains are big. Hey, size doesn't always matter, man. Does sometimes, not always. That's one for you to chew on, right? There you go. He says, Sparky, there's only so much Sean to go around. I will manage my time better, but Derek is right. There you go. So, hey, that's always something, and it kind of pissed me off because, I spent $300 and some for another heater, water tankless heater. I could send it back, but I figured if I do that, one will fail for real. So I'll keep it as a spare. So if something goes wrong, I can swap. It's the same one on both, the same unit for both the one in the garage and the one in the kitchen. So it's not that big of a deal, and nothing wrong with having extra stuff lying around. Now the good news is we did get, I told you about the mini split that we put in the second bedroom. It worked for about, a couple of days. Turns out the compressor failed on it. And they think that was probably damaged in shipping. So my wife got a full refund on it, which was cool. Because I had already bought a replacement one. And so that solved that problem. So I just got to get it in and operational. And as long as I get it done before the end of this month, I'll be okay. Because that's when my stepdaughter and her brood come down with her. So I got to make sure. Because I say it's miserably hot without air conditioning here. You got to have it. And we're early in the summer yet. So I don't know what it's going to be like, in the next month or so. And then I just read today that we're supposed to get another dust storm in Florida. The Saharan dust storm from Africa. This will be the third one now. Normally we get one every year or so. But for some reason this year, we're getting 3. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get more. I don't know what the hell they're doing with the weather or anything else, but you cannot convince me that it's not being screwed with. Because all these weird things are happening for no good reason. And it's getting to be where it's a little suspect, Alright, here's something from Sparky that's important. He says, got a couple of shirts, mugs, stickers, and tumblers for the meet and greet. So if James, Sean, or anyone wants one, you have to come and get it. There you go. Unfortunately, I won't be able to, but for those who that get to make it up there, I'm sure they'll be able to. Well, that's not good. So if your AFib fares up too much, they might take your license. That would suck. I mean, for good reason, but you got to get that. You got to get that operation, man. Get that ablation surgery. I'm telling you, it works, and it's way better than taking the pills and, you know, wondering when your next flare-up's going to happen. Sean says he'll be getting some merch from Sparky. There you go. So, yeah, it kind of pissed me off that I had to change that out because I said they were willing to send me another condenser. And I'm thinking, well, you know, I'm kind of funny about it. Something doesn't work. I don't want to fuck with it anymore. I'm done with it, you know. So I replaced it with a kind of a name brand, Costway, which you can get in Amazon. This will be the third Costway I bought. I've got one that I bought. The first one I bought was for the guest house, mother-in-law house. The second one I got was for my master bedroom. And now the third one will be the same thing, just a little bit smaller BTU in that second bedroom. They're good machines, you know, knock wood. So I figured why not stick with something you know. They said the one that went bad was called the Monastin. What the fuck is a Monastin? So, you know, that's my fault. You know, stick with what you know. You know, sometimes it doesn't make sense to save it. Literally, we saved $100 by buying the Monastin. But then again, I'm spending 3 times that if you count my labor. So, you know, because of that, now I have to do the whole system again. The good news is it was very easy to remove it. And the only difference is I have to move the condenser because the condenser is, even though it's the same 9,000 BTU, the condenser is almost twice the size as the Monastin was. So the hangers I got bolted to the wall, they won't work now. I have to relocate them. So, you know, once again, more work than I needed to. Yeah, there you go. I don't know if that'll work or not, but it'd be worth a shot, right? Most time when you have AFib, it goes up high. If it drops low, you could pass out. That could be a problem if you're behind the wheel, but my understanding, that doesn't usually happen. It usually shoots up to 130, 150, 200, 230. You won't pass out, but you'll be a little jittery, you know. But you'd still be able to maintain control of the car, pull over, wait for it to pass, whatever. I don't know. I don't trust doctors. Well, we'll just go with that. I don't trust doctors. Holy shit. Sparky says he's off. He's home for the next 3 days. But then after that, he'll be working 7 days a week till Christmas. So that's almost 6 months. Without a day off, that's fucking crazy, man. I don't know about that. Oh, that's right. You guys don't pay anything because you got socialized medicine up there. Well, I guess you got no leverage then. Sounded good though, didn't it? So the good news is, so far, nothing else is broken in the house, and I don't foresee anything important breaking. You know, as long as you got air conditioners and lighting, you're good to go, and water, of course. Now I have had 2 water leaks in the past on the hot side. And that's because sections of the pipe actually rotted from the inside. That could happen at any time again. So all I can do is keep my fingers crossed and hope it doesn't. But the cold water side is fine. Well, there you go. Yeah, you'd almost have to. That's crazy to work straight like that. You work yourself into an early grave is what you'll do. That's why God made sick days. Good point. So, like I said, hopefully I can get back in here and get a little bit more done. I don't want to spend a lot of time in here. You know, I got to spend time with my wife and have some, me time too at home. But I should be able to put a little bit more time than I have been the last couple of months in here. We'll see how it goes. Sean goes, Sparky, just look at all the overtime pay he'll be getting. Yeah, I guess you would, man, if they pay time and a half up there. Sparky said, well, help pay for the dining car if I don't sell all the seats. I thought you had them almost sold out so far. Now, didn't you say you had something like 42 altogether? And I don't know. Lauren will be happy. I said I wish there was a way I could get up there, but there's just absolutely no way. I don't have a passport. I don't have money. And I wouldn't trust taking my car to go either. I got 18 left to go. Okay. That's not much. You should be able to fill them, I'd imagine. You know, the closer time gets, you'll probably have some last minute stragglers come in. I would think. I hope so anyway. So if you don't sell all the seats, that means you have to pick up the tab for those empty seats even though they'll be empty? That doesn't hardly seem right, but I guess. Yeah, that's true. You only got 2 months to do it. That sucks though that you have to pay for all the seats, whether they're filled or not. I mean, you don't really have any control over that. Not really. Of course, the worst comes to worst, you could probably sell them at a discount and pick up the over on it. You won't be out at quite as much money. You know, so like if a ticket was $50 and you sold a ticket for 40, you'd have to eat 10, but that's better than eating the whole 50. I don't know, you'll figure it out, but I'm pretty sure you'll probably sell it out. I hope you do anyway. Which reminds me, while we're on there, let's go ahead and bring that up. Okay, well that makes sense, Sparky, when you put it that way. Anyway, remember, here's the meet and greet information. It's a 3-day event, starts on Friday at 4 p.m. And you can read all this here. I'll leave it up for a minute and then I'll go to the second part. It looks like it'll be a lot of fun. And plus you'll get to hang out in Sparky's train shed. Can't go wrong there. And there's the other part of it. So if you guys are planning on going up there, anybody who's planning on it, make your reservations now. Make them early so you can guaranteed to get a seat. And plan on August 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of this year. So James says Sparky Rapido rented that train this week. Oh, that was cool. Huh. Well, that's pretty cool. Like I said, too bad you're up in Canada. You were a lot closer. I'd be able to get up there. There's just no way I could drive that far. And ain't no way in hell I'm getting in an airplane. Hey, you're quite welcome, Sparky. I don't mind. Like I said, I'm going to run it every week until it happens. Try and get the word out there. I hope everybody else does the same thing. You know, people that I can't reach. You know, tell your friends and whatever about it, and make it a big event, a memorable one. James says, Sparky, I need the updated flyer. We'll add the next video. Well, if Sparky can't get it to you, let me know. I'll email it to you. Sparky and Sean has them. Okay, that's cool. Haven't put any further thought into what I wanted to put up on the second level. I know we did talk about a chicken farm. And possibly even maybe corn or wheat or something like that, small field. That stuff's still on the table. Whatever I can get away with printing. And I got lots of room up there for stuff because, well, there's probably 6, 7, probably a good 8 foot of available space up there. So there's plenty of room for stuff. And of course, if I have to, I can always rearrange things anyway. Derek says his humidifier took a shit. Dehumidifier. Yeah, nothing lasts for shit anymore. You know, it's in the old days, well, not that old, but years ago, machines like that would last 10, 20 years. Sometimes more. Nothing lasts for shit anymore. It's all designed to fail as quickly as possible. To force you to buy a new one at twice what you paid for the first one. James says, Derek, mine stopped at freezing up. Yeah, well, like I said, I don't know what's going on with stuff. That's what I'm saying. You know, we're thinking, you know, we buy things thinking they'll last a while. And then they don't. And then we're like scratching our head going, well, what the fuck, you know? Like I said, I had an old Kelvinator refrigerator. For you guys of my age range, you know what they are. It was given to me about 30 years ago. Yeah, I don't know when they were made. I think 40s or 50s. I don't remember. It worked beautifully. I put it in my shop. I had it for 10 years. I gave it away when I shut down the shop, and for all I know, whoever I gave it to either still has it or gave it to somebody else. And I'll bet you that thing's still running. You know, it's amazing. It's a simple device, and it just doesn't quit. And now they get all this new shit out there. Ford just had a massive recall. Over 1 million vehicles were recalled from 2021 to 2025 with the Ford Sync system in it. You know, that interconnects the car with the web. Well, apparently, the rear view camera goes blank or gives you a bad image. And they think it's a software issue. Well, first off, why in the fuck do you have to have a microprocessor to control a camera? The camera should be self-contained, just like these ones that we use. You plug it in, it either works or it don't. No, Ford's got to go one better. We're going to go ahead and put it into a microprocessor between the sync system and the camera. What could go wrong? Well, apparently something did. So now they've got to fix over 1 million of these cameras. You know, it seems like the more complicated they make shit, the less reliable it is. It's ridiculous. That could be your rant right there, right? It's happening with everything. You know. I was looking at my phone yesterday. And I'm looking at the time. It was 10 something. I go, no, it can't be that early because, you know, it's got to be closer to noon. So I look at the clock on the wall above my main computer, and it's like 11:50. You know, 10 to 12. How the fuck is my phone wrong? Well, it turns out I had to reboot the damn thing, the phone, and then it came up with the right time. I've never had that happen before. And I have an Android phone. They generally don't do updates on those. Not like your Apples do, you know. But it's getting ridiculous, you know. So if you don't do the update, now your phone don't work properly. I'm sure there was more things going on than just the wrong date. But I had to do a reboot, a restart, in order to do the update and get it sorted out. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit, you know. And we talked about this before. All your appliances in your house now have microprocessors in them. They're all computerized. They're smart. You know, I got a smart washing machine. Why? The dumb one works just as well. Have a smart clothes dryer. Same deal. A dumb one works better than the smart one does. You know. And something goes wrong and the whole system takes a shit. Sometimes you can unplug it to reset it, or there's a sequence of buttons you got to hit the right way to reset the system. But you never had to do that in the past because it was all mechanical. It either worked or it didn't, and if it broke, it was easy to fix. You could diagnose it and replace the part yourself. Now you gotta be a damn computer engineer to figure out what the fuck's going on. And the more they do this shit, the worse things get. And James says, made in China junk 2 years old. Well, absolutely. And Derek says, James might as the defroster cycle works down to 41 degrees. Okay. Yeah, that's closer to it, Joe. Only works till the warranty expires. You gotta love it. Derek said, I had the first one I had lasted 10 years, next one 5 years, next one 4 years, and this one only 2 years. All the same model. Well, quit buying that fucking model. It sounds like they got your number on this. You're gonna be replacing that fucking thing every 6 months before you get done. And that's the way I am. If something goes wrong with something before I think it's the time it should go wrong, I'm done with that brand. You know, I'll try something else. It may not be any better, it may even be worse. And then, I'll go from there. But I absolutely will not keep using something that gave me problems the first time. Because I figure if it was junk the first time, it'll be junk the second, third, fourth, and whatever. Oh, yeah, I jumped on that one. He says, when they freeze up, they're losing gas. Okay. Or a dirty filter. Well, dirty filter you can figure out. Tom says, Jim, not true. Android phone update every day. You just do not know it when, because it does it in the background. At least iPhone informs you when, and you are in control of the time it happens. You sure about that, Tom? I mean, I very rarely, restart my phone. And it wasn't until this last month that I've been having problems with it, to where I actually had to do a restart. And my wife had the same problem with her Android. And she has a different brand. She has a Galaxy phone where I have a Chinese one, but she had big problems. They're the same deal. The time locked up on it. Couldn't reset it, and it locked the whole damn phone up. She couldn't do anything with it. So she wound up calling up the carrier, and they helped her reset the phone. She had to do it wasn't a factory reset, but something close to it. And then it did another update, and it was fine. So, but once again, whatever the case may be, why do they keep updating these phones? And that's the reason why I won't have an iPhone. Because I feel, all right, so they're uploading new data every day into that thing practically. What are they really updating though? I mean, what are they putting in there? Is it spyware? Could be, probably is. And how do you know they're not downloading shit at the same time? That's why I don't even like the whole idea of a smartphone. I don't like anything smart, to be honest with you. In my world, I'm the only smart person in my house. All the equipment needs to be stupid. I know it sounds weird, but that's the way I feel about it. Sean says, now all your appliances communicate with a central hub. There will be an uprising Skynet. Yeah, it could happen. Hey, Waycross Train Spotter. Scott, how you doing? Good to see you here. He says, Jim, last week I saw the dark side on a sidewalk. I'm not even going to go there, man. Tom Grass says, Derek, stop shopping at Wally World. Yeah, I hate fucking Walmart, man. I only go there when I absolutely have to. Hey, Russ is rocking on HO trains and stuff. Hey, Russ, how you doing? Good to see you. Oh, damn, this thing keeps jumping every time I click on it. So Thomas, no, I got from a friend I got one from a really reputable guy in a van. There you go. Yeah, you gotta watch out for them too. You don't know what the hell you're getting. Samsung alerts me every time there's an update. I can refuse it if I like. And that's the way it should be, Or like on my computer, well, not anymore, but prior to this Windows 11 horse shit, I had all the updates turned off. I didn't want them, And it didn't do them until 11 came out, and now they're trying to force us to go to 11, even though my machines aren't compatible for 11. Which means I'd have to shit can all my computers, all 3 of them, in order to update to 11. I'm not doing it. I like 10, and I'll keep 10. I don't give a flying fuck. It seems like every time they do an update, it fucks something up. You can't tell me that they're not screwing with your machine to try and force you to do the upgrade they want you to do. And I'm sure they do it with the phones too. You know? Now I got a Chinese phone. It's the hell's this thing called? It's fuck, I forgot. That's such a weird name. It's a Fossabot. It's a nice phone. I love the phone. It's heavy. It's got all the power of a laptop and then some. I didn't pay much for it. I think I only paid $190 for it, brand new. You know, my wife has a Galaxy 23, I think. It's a piece of shit. She'll tell you it's a piece of shit. And I don't know what she paid. Well, she makes time payments on hers, I think, through the carrier. And some of them phones are $800-900 or more. And they don't last for shit, you know. I don't trust updates. I never did. Because you don't know what they're actually putting in your machine or your equipment. Tom says, Jim, yes, I am the updates. Do not require you to restart your phone. The iPhone is a larger update once every 2 to 3 months. And then you need to restart the phone. Yeah, I won't have an iPhone either for that reason. But I never did like Apple products anyway. But for you guys who like them, that's cool. That's your thing. I mean, I'm not real impressed with Android either. But, you know, those are your choices. Now, Microsoft has their version of software on their phones. I would definitely not get one of their phones. Andy says, won't be long. Sean, did you see the video of the AI robot that attacked? I read about that. It was just a headline I read, but you know, they don't know what they're screwing with. They really don't, and I don't know why they persist on fucking with shit that they don't know what the fuck they're doing, you know. Oops, where'd it go? He said, Jim, the updates are security features that someone cannot hack your... Nah, I don't necessarily agree with that, Tom. That's what they want you to know. That's what they want you to believe, but how do you know that? How do you know they're not downloading your information that you think is secure and private? You know. And especially right now, was it another health insurance company got hacked again. Something like 18 billion passwords were released. I mean, the whole concept of password protection is a joke. You know, my email account, my Hotmail account, I've changed my password about once a month on that thing. Because I get notifications from a company that I'm with that lets you know if you get put on the dark web. Well, I don't use normal passwords on my Hotmail account. They're about 30 letters and numbers long. There's no word there. It's just a jumble of letters and numbers and symbols. And they hack it in less than a day. And I'm at the point, I just don't give a shit. There's nothing on there you're gonna use against me anyway. You want to read my emails, knock yourself out, you know. I mean, that's your boredom, handle it any way you want. But, you know, this whole idea that we think we have security and privacy is a joke. Because we don't. Heard what Governor of Florida said last week about blocking. Yeah, well, we've known about that here in Florida, and yes, we will do it, and that's why they don't get in front of our cars here. You know, you don't want to get in front of my car, I'll run your ass down. I don't give a fuck, you know. And I drive a fucking, 4,000-pound sled. I run you over, you're probably not going to live to tell the tale. I was watching on YouTube the other day, looked like he had a Ford Focus or something like that, and he ran over this woman. She jumped on the hood, and he gassed it, and she fell over, and he ran right over. I mean, got both tires on her legs. She got up and walked away. She went to the hospital for minor injuries. But that's such a light car, it didn't even snap her legs. I'm thinking, geez, that had to break her legs, because it was a human speed bump. But, but that's what needs to happen. You know what? It's self-defense no matter how you look at it. You don't know what their intentions are. Now, I usually carry my gun with me pretty much everywhere I go. I'm not really worried, you know, and I'd probably be more likely to shoot the son of a bitch than I would be to run him over. But the good news is I could do either one and not really face any consequences. You know. And that's why we don't have a lot of the problems here that they do like in LA or New York or in them other places. You know, even in Miami where people are crazier than normal, they don't do that shit because they know they'll get run down. You know. Smartest thing that could have ever happened. I mean, I don't understand why this is not a federal law or rule. You know, if somebody steps in front of your car and refuses to leave and they're not law enforcement, run them down. You know, probably won't damage your car any. It might fuck up their day permanently or otherwise, but you know, that's the price you pay for being stupid. How's that go? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. What are you gonna do? Russ says my Walmart creeps me out. Zombies working there. Yeah, I'll tell you what, they're idiots in Walmart. I don't like shopping there. And I heard Sam's Club did away with, because I was a Sam's Club member. I just let it lapse last month because we don't have one in the area anyway. We used to go to the one in Naples back when I lived down there, and I used to get my gas there too. And the gas was always a little cheaper than everybody else. But they talking about I don't think all of them have done it yet, but they're working on it. And they're going to do away with all the cash registers and the cashiers. No self-checkouts or nothing. They'll all go through your phone. So when you get to the front door, it automatically tallies up what's in your cart and charges your debit card or credit card, whatever you assign to it. Well, fuck that. I ain't playing that shit. So I said, that's it. I'm done with them. And it must be hurting them because a membership is $50 for Sam's Club. Now they're giving them away for $20. So they must have lost a lot of fucking clientele, I think. You know, and they're saying that Walmart might do the same thing. And I guess a few of them out, I don't know, it was up north or out west somewhere, they're on a trial of it. You know, and the worst part is they're doing this to save money, you know. But you're not going to save any money, you know. You walk in the store, there's no cashiers, there's no checkout counters. Now you got AI and your phone tallying up your total. Well, shouldn't your shit be cheaper now if they're saving all that money by not paying people? No, it isn't. So, fuck them. Derek says, Big Jim, are those real or do they come with the phone and her number? No, she's not real, believe it or not. That's like a cartoon. It's not a real model. And no, it doesn't come with a number either. I've had that picture for, well, since cell phones came out, pretty much. And I kind of like it, and I just leave it on the phone. Some people are, you know, they get a little disgusted when they see it, and it's like, well, you know, grow up. You know, if you haven't seen a pair of tits by now, then, well, I don't know what the hell the problem is, you know. Your phone has the bonus titty screen. There you go. I mean, hey, you know, it's not a big deal. I mean, if you've seen one pair, you've seen them all. So I don't know why people get all bent out of shape out of it, you know. Russ says AI is the work of the devil. Yeah, it probably is. Derek says they give you a new emoji and take all of your contacts and viewing history. They probably do. Hey, Floyd, what's going on? Good to see you here, man. Thank you, Floyd. 22 and 7. Come on, you guys. Hit the damn like button, man. Let's good for the algorithm, right? Plus, it makes me feel better. Smash that like button, please. Yeah, there you go. Hit the like. It's free. Probably the only damn thing nowadays that is free. Yeah, I read that too, Scott. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, you don't know who's on whose side anymore. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, a lot of people wouldn't agree with me, but if it were my call, I'd say kill them all and be done with it. You know, I mean, the whole thing is, I don't have a problem with peaceful protest. I think it's stupid. I think it's a waste of time to stand on a street corner with your little sign screaming at the top of your lungs because nobody gives a shit. Nobody's going to do anything about it, you know. But the minute you throw a rock or a bottle or set a fire or throw a Molotov cocktail or hit a cop or a pedestrian or whatever, all bets are off, you know. Now we bring out the bullets and you're going to pay with your life, you know. And I watched one video, there's some guy gets there, there's a cop sitting right there. He jumps up on the cop's hood, smashes the windshield with his feet, and jumps on the roof and is crushing the roof, right? And I'm thinking, what the fuck is that cop doing in there? I'd have had my gun out and shot that bastard right in the motherfucking nuts through the fucking roof. And that would have fixed that problem. You know? And I'm telling you, until we start fighting back, nothing is going to change. That's why I'm glad, like here in Florida, you can run them down and shit. Because, you know, what they're doing isn't going to work anyway. All they're doing is pissing people off. You know, remember when that Stop Oil crowd was doing their shit? Stopping highways and shit? You know, well, they're going to stop oil. No, that's just going to waste more oil. Nobody's going to stop using oil. Nobody's going to get rid of their gas cars. Because we need them. And if you don't like living on planet Earth, find another planet. You know, we'll send you there. We've got plenty of rockets that may or may not explode halfway. You never know. Anthony says, I haven't been in Walmart for 10 plus years. Creepy folks. Yeah, that there are, man. That's pretty good though, that you've been able to avoid Walmart that long. Yeah, that was, I can't remember his name now, but Ivers or something like that. It was in, I can't remember what county, because you got him and you got Grady Judd. Grady Judd's in Polk County, I believe. And Grady Judd basically said the same thing on a different occasion. You know, we're not going to play with you. We'll just kill you. and that's the way it should be. You know what? If you try and kill a cop, if you try and kill anybody, you should be met with an appropriate response, which is a bullet to your fucking face. I'm sorry, just the way I see it, you know. Hey, GRE 2057, what'd you come into? Oh, the usual horse shit. Now, we were talking about Governor DeSantis of Florida got on the internet and basically told the rioters, don't screw around here because it won't end well for you. So that's what we were kind of talking about. There's one rocket less now in Texas. Well, didn't another Starship blow up? I think yesterday or a couple days ago. I don't know why he keeps screwing with that thing. He's like, what, 5 of them blew up already? What do they call that? Rapid unintended something or another there. I can't remember what it's called. You guys remember it. And Scott says, like to go back to 1980s or 90s, not now. Too much hate this country from... Yeah, that's true, there is. And it's unfortunate, but, you know, the people today, they're stupid. Like I said, somebody convinced them that they could bring about change by screaming and running and yelling and setting fires and throwing rocks and bottles at things and looting stores. I mean, the whole concept of that, if you use common sense, you'd say, all right, now it's going to do the exact opposite. You know, people will never get on to your side or whatever you're trying to promote if you're causing violence or pain or hate. It's just not going to do it. I mean, you know, I don't care what you think should be. If I see you committing crimes and causing property destruction and hurting people, I'm going to figure you're probably full of shit. Yeah, want nothing to do with you, you know. Tom Grass says, we love Grady Judd. He is great. He is great, man. I tell you, that's the kind of sheriff I would be. And I wanted to be a sheriff, but they wouldn't let me because they were afraid of me. I kid you not. I tried to run for sheriff in Naples in Collier County years ago, and they wouldn't even give me the paperwork to do it. They said, you will never, ever be sheriff in Collier County. Because they were afraid of me, because they knew that I didn't fuck around. And, you know, I couldn't be bought or controlled, and I was going to do the right thing. You know, because that's just the way I am. Hey, Gigliotis, Ray, how you doing? Good to see you here. That's it. Rapid unscheduled disassembly. I don't know. I can never remember that. And that's another thing. We can't even call shit what it is anymore. It fucking blew up. Oh no, it rapidly unscheduled disassembly happened. No, it fucking blew up. You know. As I'm saying, as a society, we really just we're losing it. You know, not all of us, of course, but a good many of them. You know, Houston, we have a problem. We have a rapid unscheduled disassembly problem. Floyd says, it's okay, Andy, as it belongs to Musk. But I mean, how many millions of dollars does he lose when that thing blow up? I mean, I know the old saying, you know, if at first you don't succeed, try again. But he's failed like, what, 5 or 6 times already? Time to throw in the fucking towel, man. It ain't meant to be. You know? And who's going to volunteer to go for that shit? What kind of a moron would want to go to Mars? It's a one-way trip for one. You're going to die there one way or the other. Sooner or later, probably sooner. What's the point of it? You know? I mean, I know a lot of people I'd like to send there. All the rioters, all the fucking illegals, you know. Hey, that's what we should do. We should start a fund, a GoFundMe account. They'll fly all the illegals over to Mars. There you go. We'll send you to Mars. You'll be fine there. You know, nobody will bother you. Tom says, Charlie Kirk shows how stupid people from the left really are. That's true, he does. And there's a few other people that are doing the same thing. And their stupidity knows no bounds. It really doesn't. Yeah, Floyd, as long as he doesn't send me the bill. There you go. Yeah, you know, I think you're right, Sean. I really do. And I've been saying this for many years, not quite that way, but my attitude is technology is making us stupid. You know, and it's like what I was talking about with Ford's recall on the rear cameras in all their vehicles. They're saying it's causing accidents. Well, if you knew how to drive your car, you shouldn't need a camera to back up. If you can't back up without the aid of a camera, you probably shouldn't be driving the car. Now, I don't have any cameras in my car. I mean, I have a dash cam, but, half the time I don't even use it. And it does have a rear view camera, but I don't use the damn thing because I don't need it. When I'm backing up, I can judge the distance. I know how close I am or how far I am from where I'm going. I'm not going to run shit over by accident, But this is what's happening now. So people are getting so used to using those cameras that they can't use their mirrors anymore. They can't turn around and look anymore. They forgot how to back up without the camera. Same thing with lane assist and all that other shit. Automatic braking. These systems are going to fail. And they will because that's the nature of electronics. It fails. So you've been driving for 5 or 10 years and you don't really have to worry about stopping because, the car will stop for you. You don't really have to pay attention anymore. Until it fails. Then you slam into somebody. Maybe you die. Maybe you kill the person in front of you. Maybe one of your passengers winds up going through the windshield. All because of technology. Because you relied on tech to stop your car rather than your fucking foot and your brain. Yeah. Now tell me I'm wrong. I mean, I know I'm not. Because it is. It's making us stupid. Look at smartphones, for example. Now, before smartphones came out, you probably knew the phone numbers of your girlfriend, your best friend, your parents, your grandparents, other important numbers you felt you needed to know, all up here. Didn't have to search for them either. You just knew where they were at. Now that you got a smartphone, you're lucky you know your own fucking number. And some people don't. Well, I don't call myself. I don't know what the hell my number is. And that's what I'm saying. All this smart stuff is making us stupid. Let's make the rest of the world stupid again so we can get smart again. If you rely on technology, it will fail and you will probably die. One way or the other. It's just not worth it. Now, exactly, Sean. The new generation can't think for themselves, too dependent on computers and now AI. And I mean, while AI is fun, but it's dangerous and they want to put it in charge of shit. They want to put AI in charge of the nukes. Well, that seems kind of stupid. Wasn't there a movie about that? Several movies, actually. Where the machines got fed up and said, let's just kill these fucking humans because they're idiots. And that's apparently what might just happen. I don't know. Not looking good. Pretty soon, sooner or later, all the pilots will be back in the tail using cameras. Better chance of living through a crash if up the back. I heard that was true, but I don't know if I really agree with that. I mean, it may improve your chance 1 or 2%. You're probably still going to fucking die, though, Didn't help them people in India, did. Although one guy did survive it. It wasn't his time to die, apparently, but... And once again, now they're saying that... When I first saw it and heard about it, I watched a video. I go, well, they suffered power loss on takeoff. Because the plane was going good, and all of a sudden it just started going down. So obviously there was a loss of power situation. Now they're saying the right engine was replaced 3 months ago. And it's questionable as to whether it was really repaired or not. But I don't think it was one engine, because if it was one engine, it would have started banking as it went down. But it went down dead level. So I'm thinking both engines lost power. And we have no idea why, and we'll probably never be told the truth anyway. And once again, they're making these planes more and more sophisticated that you can't land them without the computer. You can barely take off without the computer. I don't want a machine fucking controlling my movements, man. I just don't, But what the hell do I know, right? I don't know. It's weird, man. It's some fucked up shit, but I don't know. Like I said, it is what it is, but will get worse probably. Because I don't foresee us going backward, although we need to. You know, instead of we're up to me, I'd ban all tech. Well, not all of it, but I'd ban the tech that isn't necessary. Like all the shit they put in the cars. You know, if you built a car like they did, say, back in the 70s, didn't really have anything in it, minor pollution controls, but that was about it. No computers or anything like that. If you built cars like that, we could sell them for $6,000-7,000 again. But when you got, 52 fucking airbags in the car, lane assist, auto braking, they got some fancy term now for the cruise control, adaptive cruise control, whatever the fuck that means. Internet connected, all this horse shit, ABS brakes. You don't need none of that shit. We need to go back to where, driving was dangerous. And it kind of was, and it still is. But there were less accidents back in the 70s than there are today, because in the 70s you didn't have airbags. You didn't have you really didn't have ABS braking. I think it started coming out in the late 70s, but I didn't have it in my Le Mans. And I never wore a seatbelt. The cars were built better, I think. And you kind of got, every time you got in your car, you're thinking, all right, if I do something stupid, I may die or I may kill somebody. Today, you get in your car, it's like, fucking car's got my ass. Got my back, so I don't have to worry, just get in here and be stupid, because it'll fix it. And then they can't understand why so many people are getting killed in cars today. Gee, I wonder if that might have something to do with it. Oh, there ain't no fucking way I'd get in the driverless car either. If I'm not in control of it, I'm not going to be part of it. That's just the way it is. I trust me. I don't trust the machines. Do I think it's cool? Yeah, kinda. But I don't trust it, and I wouldn't be in it. Not happening. And he said the engines are under computer control. Electrical power failed and reset the computer, which put the engines to idle. Allegedly. Oh, on that flight? Okay, that makes sense. And once again, let's throw more computers in there. If it didn't work the first time, throw a couple more computers in there. That'll fix it. It was so much easier when they had an actual connected throttle and on and off switches. Now everything goes through a computer. Glass cockpits, it's all fly-by-wire. Nothing's connected to anything. And they can't understand why it fails. That's why I'd never get in a spaceship, a rocket, because you think the planes are bad, the rockets are even worse. They just can't be trusted, man. There's no way. And Tom says, Jim, don't forget how the front seat makes love to you in the car now. Does it really? I don't know. It might. I don't want to have sex with my car, though, man. I got a wife for that, I don't know. Like I said, it's just, hey, Raymond Anthony, 127, how you doing? Just got here, did you? Cool. I think that we have to really revisit where we're going with some things. I'm not against technology. Some tech is really cool. I love computers, but they have a place. That place is not in my car, not in the airplane, certainly not in my house, as far as controlling shit, If we just go back to common sense again, I think we'd all be better off and be much smarter for it. Floyd said, "The hell, there are some people that scare the hell out of me." But yeah, me too, man. Like I said, until I moved here to Sebring, driving was dangerous in Naples, but not that bad. I mean, you watch people run the stop signs on occasion because they would do that. But that was about the extent of it. I mean, people sped, that was no big deal. They seemed to be somewhat competent drivers. And I got here to Sebring. Now, our main road is State Road 27. It's like 41 in Naples, but worse. 6 lanes. His nickname is Bloody 27. Most accidents result in fatalities. Speed limits are higher here, which I'm okay with. I'm generally in a hurry anyway, but I'm also careful. I don't change lanes before actually looking. Unfortunately, not everybody does that. I've had so many close calls where people getting ready to slam into me, sideswipe me, because they don't look. I'm right beside them. How could you not fucking see my fucking sled next to your little piece of shit fucking tinker toy? You right on over. They hit the horn like, oh my God, what the fuck are you doing? Sleeping over there? And people run lights and shit. I mean, I've avoided a couple of, well, they would have been, we would have been killed probably. I'm coming off a side street. I got the green light. And for whatever reason, I hit the brake, and here comes this guy, blows right through the red. 60, 70 miles an hour. If he'd have T-boned me, I think we all would have probably died. But fortunately, like I said, something told me to stop, and I did. But, I mean, and that shit happens more often than not, Sean said there is no such thing as an accident. It's all human error. It all comes down to not being alert, responsive, and aware when driving. Tech protects the stupid. Yes, unfortunately, that's true. And that's what I'm saying. We should, instead of putting more tech in the car, let's put less in and make them responsible. He said, if you did away with the seat belts, the airbags, and the insurance, and convinced people that driving was a dangerous sport or a dangerous venture, half of them would probably quit driving anyway, which I don't have no problem with. But the ones who would continue to drive would be a little smarter, thinking, well, I might get killed. I got nothing to save my ass now. Because I've been saying that for years. The seatbelts and the airbags will save your body. The insurance will save your wallet. There's no incentive to not be stupid out there. Because you're covered all the way around. You're covered financially. You're covered physically. I mean, you're really not, but you're convinced of it because that's the powers that be are trying to convince you that as long as you have car insurance and seatbelts and airbags, you're safe. You're not, but people are too stupid to realize that. And Derek says, Sean and Tech is going to be very busy. Yeah, pretty much. Or causes the accidents, that's true. And he goes, yes, Sean, 50% of the people in my country were caused by accidents. or defective condoms, one or the other. James says, Sean, we have stupid drivers. They're everywhere. I mean, I don't think there's any place where you can go where people don't drive like idiots, And like I said, I don't have a problem with speed as long as you're, careful. But I mean, you could do 100 miles an hour on a highway if, traffic permits it and not be dangerous to yourself or others. Or you could do 5 over and be an accident waiting to happen. The speed is not necessarily the problem. They blame it on that because, they want to control you. And the best way to do that, of course, is, oh, we're not going to let you speed anymore. We're not going to let you do this anymore. It won't change anything. It'll probably make it worse, And they know that, but they don't give a shit because it's all about control. You know, it's like you said, when you get pulled over for speeding, I'm doing this for your safety. No, you're not. You're doing it for the fucking revenue. If you were doing it for my safety, you would probably put me in jail for a couple hours or for the day. You know. But no, you just want my money. How is that making me safer? That's just making me poorer, not safer, you know. I actually told the cop that once. He didn't see the humor in it. Still got the ticket, but, you know. I mean, I wasn't being a jackass about it. I just, you know, really. You know, don't tell me you're doing this for my safety because you're full of shit. You know. You're doing this for the revenue. And I didn't deny it, but I don't think he liked the idea that I was aware of it. You know. One time, I was young. I was 17. I was in my Chevelle, Malibu. And I did a burnout off a side street going on the 41. I mean, I fucking lit that fucking... You couldn't see anything. The tires were just smoking all the hell. The car never did more than 5 miles an hour. The tires were doing about 140, 145. So anyway, I didn't see the cop sitting there, so my blue lights came on. I pulled over, and he yanks me out of the car. He literally just pulled me right out of the car. Are you fucking crazy? You could have killed yourself or somebody else. And I said, shut the fuck up. The worst thing that would have happened is I'd have blew a tire, and that would have been it. I'd have been done. The car, I wasn't doing more than 5 miles an hour. So take your fucking could have killed myself or somebody else and shove it up your stupid ass. You know, write me the ticket or get the fuck out of my way. I mean, I got a ticket, obviously. But, you know, I mean, he was just a dick. I mean, you know, don't fucking bullshit me, man. So, you know, I mean, I was respectful till he pulled that crap. You know, if you don't show me respect, I'm not showing you any either. Even though I'll generally start off being respectful, you know. I've gotten pulled over. You know, here you go. You know why I pulled you over? No, not really, but you can tell me, because you never admit you knew. Because if you admit you knew, and if you admit how fast you were going, that's what they're going to write you a ticket for. You know, a lot of times I got pulled over, they clocked me 10 over, I was probably doing 20 over. If I told them 20 over, would have been a bigger ticket. So I would say, nah, I don't know what was going on. So then I say, well, you know, the clock's you doing, all right, whatever, you know, write me the ticket. And he said, you're not going to argue with me? I said, no. I was speeding, so write me the ticket and we'll go about our business. Well, I really like your attitude. I said, well, sir, you know, no point arguing about it. I mean, if I was speeding, I was speeding, you know. And I knew I was, you know. So, I mean, some of them were kind of cool about it. Some of them even gave me warnings after that. But, you know. But I don't want to hear that shit. I'm doing this for your safety. It's like when your parents beat your ass for you know, you fucked up and this is going to hurt me more than it does you. Bullshit. I'm the one getting in here. You know, that was our first taste of stupidity and an outright lie when your parents told you it would hurt them more than it did you while they were beating your ass. Sean says, being in the line of work that I'm in, I could tell you some stories. I'll bet. James says, we had one today cut off a roundabout for a coffee. Yeah, I don't doubt it. Floyd says, being that I drove truck for 45 years, Sean, I think I've seen most of them. Yeah, you probably did. So I drove truck. I did local stuff. I never did over the road, but I drove semi and straight truck alike, and I saw a lot of stupidity on the road, you know. And it's a wonder I never ran anybody down because, as I said, they think a truck can stop on a dime and it can't, you know. And sometimes I had to, you know, go off-road to avoid killing somebody. And then they give you a dirty look like, oh, you gotta slow down. Well, maybe you should not cut in front of me and then brake check me. You know. Yeah, I know, James. It's almost 8. We might even shut down at 8. I don't know. We'll see. But that's cool. I know you got check out the other channel. Anthony goes, y'all, I gotta go get ready for tomorrow. All right, Anthony. Well, thanks for popping in, and Have a good evening, and we'll see you next week. And be safe out there, my friend. Funny you should talk about speed, Jim. Our county is putting up speed cameras all over the place. In the first year, they're projecting $9 million in revenue. And that's all it's about. It's all about revenue. That's not there to help anybody. How is that going to slow anybody down? They had the red light cameras in Naples for a long time. Now, I never got one. My wife got one, 3 o'clock in the morning. Didn't make a complete stop, and the camera got her and she had to pay a bunch of money. But then they found out that the company who controls them was actually setting them up to basically pop everybody, whether you stopped or not. And it was all about making money, And the reality is they were making a killing on these red light fines. So finally, Collier County said, we're taking them. Well, they got sued over it. I think one guy actually got ticketed for supposedly not making a complete stop on a right turn at a red light. And he had his own camera. And I don't know how he did it, but he showed enough evidence to prove that the camera was rigged to trigger whether he stopped or not. They got a big investigation started, and they wound up pulling all the cameras out, which, the best thing they could have done anyway. Andy says, they call them safety cameras here, Sean, but they don't measure safety. Well, of course they don't. Sean, they are stealing the cameras. That's what they need to do anyway. I thought about shooting some of them out, but it'd be hard to do and not get caught, Derek says, shine a green laser at the camera and it will never work again. Is that true? I guess they could ruin the CCD chip in there. I don't know. I didn't know that, though. Hey, Dave Niche, how you doing? Good to see you here. Raymond says, here in California, none of us have to worry about having to get all electric vehicles by 2050 after all. Well, no, Trump killed that. It would have never happened anyway because the electrical grid there is worse off than the rest of the country, and ain't no fucking way you could have charged all the cars simultaneously anyway. You'd all be walking. Maybe that was the plan. They had to know that their electric grid couldn't handle millions of cars charging simultaneously. It's all bullshit anyway when you get down to it. No, that's the problem. That's the problem we have in this country. And unfortunately, it's really woven into the fabric of America. And that's control. And I don't care whether it's your food intake, your driving abilities. Almost any you can think of, there's some sort of a control to limit or tell you how to go about doing your business. Wasn't always that way, but the last, I'd say probably 40 years it has been. It's very unfortunate. Hey, Mom and Son Train Rail fans, Tammy and Ray, how you doing? Good to see you here. All right, Sean, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in, and have a good weekend. Be safe, friend, and we'll see you next week. As I'm saying, it's unfortunate because you can't really do what you want anymore. I mean, you used to be able to a degree. As long as you didn't bring harm to anybody else, nobody gave a shit, But they're not happy with it anymore. They want to control your every move, your every thought, your every whatever. They want to control all of it. They want to tell you how to eat, how much to eat, when to eat, what to eat, when you can go home, when you can go to bed. I mean, in many ways, this is very true. they just got to have constant control over everything. That makes them feel good, I guess. But at some point, people are going to get fed up with it. They're going to get their guns and they're going to take care of business. And, you know, that happens, well, so be it. Yeah, I'm doing okay, Tammy. Tired, we're pretty run down. I mean, I got so many things going on. Trying to get the train room back in shape. Having air conditioning issues on the main house. I ripped out the main system and I'm installing mini splits. I'm going to put 3 of them in the house. One for the master bedroom is already in there. I'm in the process of hooking up the one for the second bedroom. And then lastly, I'll do one for the living room, dining room, kitchen. And it'll be cheaper and more reliable than the central air was. And way cheaper to put in. So, all right, James, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. Be safe and get that AFib under control, my friend. You don't want to let it get you. Ain't no one telling Mom what to eat. Well, they're not directly doing it, but they are, because the food is all garbage anyway, you know. And they won't let you eat good food. Like I said, if you try and drink raw milk, you'll go to jail. And so will the person selling it to you. Why? If that's what you want to do, then you do that, you know. Now, there's another recall. What the hell was it? I can't remember what that was. Ice cream, maybe? Anyway, there's metal in it. How in the hell did metal get in containers of ice cream? Now, my problem is, why aren't these places getting investigated? I mean, yeah, they have to do recalls and all other horse shit, but nobody ever goes to jail for this stuff. If it's a maintenance issue, they should be fined for not maintaining their machines. Or if somebody really did try and bring harm on somebody, that person should be arrested, charged with attempted murder. You know, but that never happens. Oh, it's just a recall. We'll fix it for you. Don't worry about it. You know, bullshit. A thought crossed my mind last week. It was a long, fruitless trip across the barren wasteland. I've had some of those thoughts too, by the way. It happens. There's a recall on tomatoes too. There's a recall on everything. Yeah, what, cucumbers got recalled a few days ago? I don't remember what for. Ice cream got recalled. Cookies got recalled. What the hell was it? There was one ice cream was recalled for having milk in it. Doesn't all ice cream have milk in it? I mean, I thought it did. You know, oh, people are allergic to milk. Well, then don't fucking buy the ice cream. Assume it has milk. All right, Floyd, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. We'll see you next week. Be safe, friend. Oh, thank you, Floyd. Appreciate that. Yeah, Tammy says she made homemade gumbo tonight. I don't eat that stuff, but for people who do, they say it's really good. And I'm a real picky eater. I don't eat a lot, so. But I have no doubt it's probably pretty good if you made it. Of course, I've been relegating to cooking lately, too, because, you know, my wife has problems with her cataracts, and I told her, I said, oh, I'll cook. You know, no big deal. And I don't mind doing it, because I'm actually a very good cook. And she's, like, amazed that the food that I cook is actually pretty good. You know. Andy says, if AI ever got into my head, it would die of loneliness. I can't argue that. Like I said, AI is cool. I mean, you ever see them things on YouTube? They take the cartoon characters and like morph them into real life people, and it's really kind of cool. You know, I'm thinking, why don't they make movies like that? You know, because you don't need actors anymore. I mean, they predicted that 30, 40 years ago that technology would eliminate the need for real actors. I'm fine with that too. I don't really care because most of these actors are assholes anyway. But why not make some of them movies with this AI characters? You know, I'd rather do that than put it in control of nukes or whatever. You know, that just seems stupid to me. Mine has shrimp, potatoes, green beans, succotash, tomatoes, not the recalled ones. I would hope not. Like I said, I don't eat most of that stuff. I like potatoes, that's about it, you know. But like I said, for people that are into that, I'm sure it's very good. I'm more of a meat and potatoes guy. I eat simple. I'm pretty much on a meat diet now. And I've lost a little bit of weight, not a lot, but at least some. 12 pounds, I think, the last I looked. And my diabetes has improved a little bit. I'm taking a little bit less insulin now. And I feel better. Even though my doctors told me, well, eat protein, it's bad for your kidneys. Sometimes I wonder if they don't deliberately try and steer you in a direction to make you sick. Yeah, I got my blood work 2 months ago before I went to see the kidney doctor. And he's looking at me, he says, I don't know what the hell you're doing, but keep on doing it. It's working. I said, you know, my A1C went down. My cholesterol is normal. You know, my blood work is mostly normal. My white blood cell was a little elevated, but that could be from anything. And pretty much everything else was good, right? So kidney function's not 100%, but that's probably from, you know, the diabetes. But it did improve because it used to be really bad, and then it kind of got better. And because they were almost talking about doing a transplant, I'm going, nah, I'll die first. But anyway, he says, I don't know what you're doing, but this is really good. I said, well, I'm doing all the things you told me not to do. And he just looked at me like that deer caught in the headlights look, you know. Like, what do you mean? I said, well, you told me not to eat too much meat, but that's all I'm eating now. I'm on a strictly, you know, what they call it, I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically the protein diet. I eat mostly meat, very few carbs, if at all. And I feel better and everything's getting better. I says, you know, they wanted to put me on cholesterol medicine for years. I wouldn't take it. And now you tell me I don't need it. They even took me off one of my blood pressure medications because I don't need it anymore. So he says, yeah, I just kind of basically did the opposite of what you told me. And he didn't say anything because he probably knew. Well, I guess he figured it out, you know. It's true, though. I said, any doctor tells you do the opposite, you probably live longer. You know. Like I said, it seems to me like they almost want you to get sick because, let's face it, when I was a kid, going to the doctor was kind of a rarity. Not many people did, unless there was something really wrong with them. So the doctors, you know, they didn't live extravagant lifestyles. You know, they lived well, but not like they do today. Today, once you see a doctor, you never get away from them. You're going to see other doctors and more doctors and more doctors. You need more pills you're going to need, more of this, more of that. And they're on fishing expeditions anyway, you know. Well, we got to find something wrong with it because, that's the way we make our money. They don't tell you that, but that's what they're thinking. Yeah, a patient cured is a patient lost. Probably supposedly the first thing they're taught in med school. So it's not in their best interest to cure you of anything. They don't want you healthy. Healthy people don't go to doctors. If you don't go to doctors, they're not going to be able to buy their mansions and their Mercedes and whatever else they do with all that fucking money they make. And that's one of the main reasons why I don't trust doctors. Because it's a business. And the primary purpose of business to make money. You wouldn't run a business where you told your clients to do something other than utilize your services or whatever you're selling or whatever, for their benefit because, well, you'd want them going belly up in a few months. Why would the doctor work on the same basis? If you get better, if you get well, you're not going to go see him. I see my doctors every 3 months, some of them. My primary and my kidney doctor, every 3 months I got to go see him. My cardiologist I see twice a year. If I didn't have anything wrong with me, you think I'd waste that time and money to go see any of them guys? It wouldn't bother unless something was wrong with me. So they want to make sure that I'm just sick enough to have to keep coming back. Now I know some people may not believe that, but trust me, it's the truth. You ever wonder why doctors never get sick? I've always wondered why they don't seem to get the same problems we do. Right, because they know how to cure themselves of the diseases that we'll all die from. I once had a doctor many, many years ago. I was having problems with my shoulder. I think it was a muscle issue, but it caused me tremendous pain. It was always hurting. I went to see this doctor, and I was his last patient. I was before he retired. So he was really thorough. He spent probably about 2 hours with me. Massaged my shoulder, took an x-ray of it, make sure nothing serious was going on. Gave me some pills. You should take these pills. There's 2 refills. Keep taking them until you run out, and that should fix your problem. I said, all right. Anyway, we get to talking. He says, I'm going to tell you something. I won't repeat it, so listen good the first time. He says, there isn't a disease on this planet we cannot cure safely. I go, that's not true. He says, well, that's what they want you to believe. We can cure every form of cancer, leukemia, diabetes, heart disease. We can cure all that stuff safely and effectively, but there's no money in it. I says, all right, so why are you telling me this? I just wanted to get it off my chest, and you're my last patient. And I'll deny it if you went public with it anyway, and nobody would believe you. I says, all right, well, I guess that makes sense. And to this day, I still remember those words that he told me, and it makes sense. And if it didn't make sense, then why don't these doctors ever get those diseases? So, like any other business, you can only trust them with, as far as you can throw them. That's just the way it is. Anyway, let's see what else is going on. Andy says he loves I can't even say that. A bouillabaisse or a fish pie. They say that right, Andy? Bouillabaisse? I probably butchered it, but I don't know. Start throwing them fancy words at me, I may or may not be able to pronounce them right. Damn. I think it finally quit raining outside anyway. I don't hear any more thunder either. And we only had one little minor disaster at the beginning of the stream where I got knocked off and had to reset. No, got lucky. Alright, well listen, I think I'm about running out of things to say anyway. Spot on Jim fish soup. Okay, that makes sense. Go figure, I said it right. Even I get lucky once in a while. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to wrap this up. I ran out of things to say anyway, and I had to go home and relax. I had to get something to eat, something to snack on, and watch a little TV and go from there. So I'm going to put the outro on, and before I do, I'm going to thank everybody for stopping in and hanging out with me. Please hit that like button if you haven't yet. And hell, we'll see you next week. Or not. Alright, why isn't it doing it? That's not good, no outro. What the hell? Nothing's working. Son of a bitch. No, I'm not home yet, and I can't get my stream deck isn't working. And I don't know why. Maybe I could do this the old-fashioned way. Alright, here we go.